What's good, wagering world? It's your boy 5-Star in Vegas, and I'm broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. This is the wagering world. I'm so happy to have my guy back in here today. He's been with me since day one. He's the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know, the OG of the show. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this morning?
Man, I'm excited. What a football season it's been so far, and I can't wait to dive in and break it all down with you.
Man, let's break it down. Before we get into that, we got to talk about what's going on in the coaching world. Is another axe just happens a few seconds ago here. Brian Callahan, he's a victim, and now he's looking for employment. Probably will be an offensive coordinator somewhere if they're still enough to hire him. You know, he's one of those guys that's all the coaches, it seems like in the scouting departments, nepotism. So I'm sure he'll get another job just because of who his father is. A lot going on in the coaching world right now, Spread. What are you thinking about what's going on with these guys? Is it overreacting with them firing James Franklin at Penn State, Jonathan Smith at Michigan State? These guys were some really good coaches that both these programs let go of, and then now you got Norville is on the chopping block too. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone before the season over. He just really has a really high buyout clause in his contract, so maybe that helps him stick around. We'll see. What do you think about all these coaching moves?
All right, it's the way things are now, and normally I'm against teams firing their coaches too early, but Brian Callahan has showed clearly that he wasn't ready to be a head coach, and the Tennessee Titans made a mistake.
Right.
And I wanted to pull something up real quick. Last four quarterbacks taken first overall have seen their first head coach fired during their rookie season. Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer, who deserved to be fired. Bryce Young had Frank Reich, who I don't know where he is in the league, but he's kind of disappeared. Caleb Williams had Matt Eberflus, another one. He should be a coordinator. And then Cam Ward with Brian Callahan. So seems to me if you got the first overall pick, maybe hire a new coach right off the bat, because it's kind of unfair to some of these young players to have to switch a head coach midway through the season. But in the case of the Titans and Brian Callahan, I think they did make the right call. It was pretty clear that this team isn't as bad. I don't think the roster is as bad as he made it look. So, and I'll let you go ahead and talk on the two college coaches that got fired.
Okay, so James Franklin's record at Penn State, Spread, 104 wins, 45 losses. That's a winning percentage of 69.9%. Okay, we remember where Penn State was when James Franklin got there. I know you remember the Sandusky stuff and how, Joe Paterno had a great run there, but he was the guy who hired Sandusky, and maybe one of the worst scandals in the history of college football, with this man molesting and taking advantage of young boys in the locker room. Okay, and he's the defensive coordinator at that school for 20 years. So it's a huge black cloud that was over Penn State for years. You got Bill O'Brien comes in before he takes the Texas job. No, after the Texas job, he does a good job of cleaning things up for him and passes the baton to James Franklin, who takes Penn State back to glory, makes people kind of forget about what they went through. It kind of reminds me of the Dusty Baker situation with the Astros. You know, James Franklin is a stand-up guy. Everyone loves him, respectable guy, speaks well at the podium, sharp dude, and he brings back respect to this program. And now, just because he tied himself to Drew Aller, we always talk about this, Spread, on this show. A coach's destiny is tied to the quarterback that he chooses to make his guy. He should have went with Bo Pribula. Bo Pribula is playing really well down in Missouri. Almost upsets Alabama this past weekend. Had won 18 straight games at Missouri at home. He chooses to ride with Drew Aller, and now he's gotten fired because Drew Aller. I can't understand unless they have Kurt Cignetti already set up, and Kurt Cignetti an older guy. That's what people are not realizing. I'm not sure he wants to leave Indiana. He's 64, so he was one of those guys who got a late start with being successful. He worked under Nick Saban at Alabama. I posted a picture with him, Kirby Smart, and Nick Saban all on the same staff. So Kurt Cignetti would be the only upgrade I see available for Penn State. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing? James Franklin just took you guys to the national semifinals last year. You were one play from being in the championship game, which you could have very much won. He called an outstanding game against Notre Dame, but as we saw, as we bet on Penn State that game, Drew Aller couldn't execute the plays that James Franklin called, even though he tried to protect them and run stuff that really, kept him from making mistakes. So I just think it was a overreaction by the Penn State, alumni and the board of directors. I heard that Adidas had something to do with it. Some guy was saying that Adidas has taken over athletics there, and they got it from Nike, and now they were kind of complaining about the brand with them losing. One thing that I can say about James Franklin, his ultimate undoing was he was never good against top 10 teams. In his 12 seasons there, he was 4-21 against top 10 teams. He was only 4 years into a 10-year contract, so he's about to make some money. His buyout is $48 million. If I'm him, I just go to the crib, he'd probably get hired by the Big Ten Network or ESPN. Man, enjoy your money, do some work, take a break. If you decide to come back, pick your spot, go find somewhere. I always wanted him at LSU. I think he would do well at LSU because I don't think Brian Kelly will be there much longer. There's a lot of good jobs that are about to open up, maybe in Florida, Florida State. So we see where James Franklin ends up wanting to live. I think he was from the Philadelphia area, so that's why he liked Penn State. But Signetti is also from the Philadelphia area, so we'll see if he can go that way. But to me, it's an overreaction, Penn State. Unless you got Kurt Signetti already ready and lined up to take that job, you can't do any better than James Franklin, in my opinion, Spread.
All right. Well, we'll see where he ends up. But like you said, he's going to have plenty of financial security to pick and choose his next position. Let's move to the past 5-star. Very good weekend, of course. 5-star on Fridays is with Ski Profit, and that's where most of these plays were given out. So we're on this channel Monday and Wednesday, over with Ski on Friday.
Well, Friday this show goes up here too now, Spread. It goes up on the channel.
It goes on both? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be able to find it. If you're subscribed, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Rutgers, first half plus 6.5 at Washington. Your thoughts there as the Scarlet Knights get it done in the first half?
We talked about this one on here with me and Ski and also on Jay Money's show. This was one that I liked all week. Rutgers is a really good offensive team. We saw that in the first half, but we did not want to mess with Washington for the full game. I set it up perfectly for everyone with the first half. Take Rutgers, and I told you guys they would probably cash money line and end up hitting at plus 200. And then the second half, as usual, Damon Williams and Washington runs off. Jed Fish makes great adjustments at halftime. They continue to have the largest winning margin in the 4 quarters of games as they blow it open in the second half against Rutgers. But we were able to cash the first half at that plus 6.5. Just real quickly before we get to the next game, I just want to let everyone know, first hit that like button if you're rocking with the Wagering World. We appreciate you all for being here. We appreciate the community. We're going to keep getting these winners to you. If you guys watch it later on, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. These are the jobs that are already open in college football, guys. So keep this in mind. You got Penn State, Arkansas, but I think Bobby Petrino keeps that one. I think he can figure out a way to weasel out that position. UCLA, I love what Tim Skip and Jared Neuhauser are doing. We're going to talk about that a little bit later when we talk about that game at Michigan State where they get the outright and end up getting Jonathan Smith's job. So now Michigan State is an open job up there in Lansing. You got Oklahoma State is open now. You got Virginia Tech. And possibly we got Florida coming because Napier has not lived up to the billing. He has a reasonable buyout too, Spread. It's at $19.38 million. Then we have Auburn, Hugh Freeze. I don't know if he makes it. I don't think he lasts. He was a horrible hire from the beginning. I've never been a Hugh Freeze guy. Wisconsin is definitely going to move off Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell was not up to the task of running that program. Oklahoma may be in play because Brett Venables has underachieved at Oklahoma. He's a defensive-minded guy, not really the type of dominant personality and coach that we're used to seeing at OU. We're used to seeing big names there, big personalities. Kentucky, Mike Stoops, it's time to move off him. North Carolina, Belichick already has an opt-out. I'm sure he's going to use it. I don't think he's going to be able to con the university into allowing his son to be the coach, so we'll see them gone. South Carolina, Shane Beamer is about to be out of there as well. He's underachieved. He's done a horrible job coaching Lenora Sellers. And then last, Maryland, Mike Loxley, great recruiter, horrible head coach. He blows another second-half lead this week as Nebraska comes back against Maryland and wins just like Washington did. So keep your eyes on all of the changes in college football at the coaching position and how it affects your school. Let's get to the next game, Spread.
All right, let's talk about it. We have the Red River rivalry, Texas money line.
3 times, Spread. As fast
right, yeah. Maybe next week. It's like when I tried to do the play call with Sean King. Right. Texas money line, minus 115 over OU. Always a fun matchup when those two teams take the field. What did you see in that one?
The handicap went exactly like I expected it to. We have a prideful Texas defense coming off a really embarrassing performance at Florida. And I look at that Texas defense as top 5 in the entire country. Got John Mateer, who we were high on the show at the beginning of the year, but he also has his limitations. He's always been a more splash guy, a big play guy, athletic guy, than a consistent passer. And then now you got a broken bone in his throwing hand. So that wasn't good. He rushes back because he's a kid from the Dallas area, and he wants to play in this dream game in the Red River rivalry. And I got to say it fast 3 times. It's very hard to say. It's a tongue twister, right? And Texas just played old school football. I knew the Sarkisian is a smart enough coach to figure out what Arch does best, limit his throws. At the beginning of the game, I want to say Arch might have threw 8 straight screens. Like, that's all he let him throw at the beginning of the game. You have to protect him from himself. You lean on your great players. He leaned on the running game, leaned on his receivers, leaned on his defense. And Texas was a much more hungry team in this game. They're 3-2. I just trust Sarkisian against Venables when both teams are the same. OU backers were looking at the fact that John Mateer will put them over the top, but he was hurt, man. A broken throwing hand is a really bad thing and difficult something to deal with. And Texas was putting hats on him, man. So great win with us on that one. It was a guy, Spread, that got under the J Money show. He saw the Longhorn in the back of my house. And you know me, Spread. You know me for many years. You know, I don't even like Texas like that as far as a team. It's just I have a part of my house that I dedicated to, like in the Den area where I'm at, to like Texas. So it's all Texas stuff. It's Longhorns, it's horses, horseshoes, stars, because, we're from Texas and we live way out here in Las Vegas. So we like to remind ourselves of home and dedicate some stuff to Texas, right? He saw that. It was like 5 stars talking about taking Texas only because he likes them. Arch Man has been horrible all year. I'm like, dude, you haven't watched this show. No one's been harder on Arch Man than me. I was the first guy who was telling people that he wasn't a Heisman candidate. He wasn't ready. We are not square on this show. Spread likes the Raiders. I like LSU, but we're not blind bettors. We don't bet from emotions, man. We're professionals. We're only going to take a team if we think that it's the right side. So, guys, if you haven't watched me enough or watched Spread enough, don't rush to judging our plays. And I told the guy under there, like, don't erase this. And sure enough, Texas wins the game. And he looks silly because he's thinking that I'm on some favoritism stuff. And it has nothing to do with that on anything we do. We wouldn't be fair to you guys if you're tuning in expecting us to give you plays and we're saying stuff like a square does out here like a fanatic and telling you to take a team just because we like them. So just because I got the Longhorn behind me, I am not a Texas Longhorn fan. If you look over the left shoulder, you see I have cactus up as well for Las Vegas. So I'm not a Texas fan like that, man. I support the Longhorns. I hope they do well, but I've never been a Texas fan.
All right. Well, let's keep talking about some of the stuff we saw on Saturday. UCLA +9 cashing against Michigan State, man. We've talked about it before, and we're not going to fix it here. Silly these teams travel so far for these games. We need to get the Pac-12 back, but UCLA causing some problems for the Spartans and Michigan State. That was a huge upset. What'd you see in that one?
we talked about UCLA before the season started. We were really high on them, Spread. Remember, I didn't understand what was going on with their head coach. I don't know how he lost the locker room. Deshaun Foster did a really good job of recruiting local LA talent. He's a kid from LA, played at UCLA, went to the pros for a while, still connected a lot around there. One of the cool guys. He's one of the cool unks like myself. One of the guys that the young boys love to talk to, love to chop it up, a guy that they can relate to. He puts together an awesome roster. I think that the main disconnect with UCLA early in the year was between him and Nico Imavilla. I think Nico Imavilla didn't like Deshaun Foster and didn't want to play for him. And so that's why at the beginning of the year, you remember Deshaun Foster didn't name him as the starter right before the game. He waited until like minutes before the game because he said he had to earn it. Now Nico Imavilla is playing his best. Sometimes, the coaches and their star players don't get along, and usually the star players is going to win, especially in the pros. We rarely see it in college because the coach is usually there longer than the player, but Nico Imavilla is going to be there a couple years. So they end up riding with him and siding with him, and the AD lets go of Foster, stays in-house, names Tim Skipper as the head guy, and then he's so smart that he allows Jared Neuhauser, which is his dad was the coach at UCLA, played quarterback at UCLA, and he also played quarterback at UCLA. He wasn't as good as his father was. He was like a backup, but really smart kid, that pretty blonde hair out there looking just like his pops when he was young. Great young coach, man. So I don't think that UCLA will move off of those guys. If they're smart, they'll keep the continuity going. And what these guys are starting, I think the UCLA is about to go on a run because they're really talented, man. Their backfield is awesome. They have 3 really good running backs. They have a really good receiver, and you got Nico Imavilla, who's now playing like a possible first-round quarterback that he is. They go to Lansing and end up ending Jonathan Smith's entire career. So Jonathan Smith is now jobless. We'll see if he goes back to Oregon State. It's a great possibility that he can because Oregon State sucks. They are terrible. They haven't won a game this year. Get blew out at home by Wake Forest this past weekend. So I definitely like what UCLA has done. I definitely am glad we played this one. We played them with the points and money line in the group. We were able to cash all of that. Tim Skipper, Jared Neuhauser, or the Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores this year in college football. A great 2 guys on either side of the ball. You got a motivator in Skipper, and you got a play caller in Neuhauser. So I'm looking to bet UCLA a lot. This guy says that UCLA will lose to Nebraska. We shall see.
All right. And that might not even been the biggest upset of the weekend as the Indiana Hoosiers traveled to Oregon at +7 and defeated the Ducks. What did you see there, man? Indiana. This team's not going to go away, and I think it's a fun story for a school that we usually think about basketball only. It's nice to see the football team get some shine down there as well.
So, in my opinion, UCLA was a big upset, and the reason why is because I'm very familiar with what Signetti can do, and I'm also very familiar with Fernando Mendoza. He was right in your area, spread out in the Bay Area. He
played for Cal, right?
Yeah, it was at Cal, but as a good coach over there, I like their coach, but he's a defensive guy. That's why Cal always plays slug it out, slow-paced games. Wilcox played safety at Oregon before taking that job years later at Cal, and he's been there, and he's not going anywhere because he's a good coach. But it's just Mendoza wanted more, man. He wanted to showcase his skills more and play with better talent, and he made the right choice going over there with Signetti. Signetti does a really good job, man, at locating talent. This guy has a great eye for talent. He probably worked really well in the NFL. Elijah Surratt, he brought him over from James Madison. This kid is a pro receiver. He was the best player on the field in Eugene. Funny thing about this whole Indiana story. So last year when Indiana got in the playoffs, the SEC felt like they got screwed out of one spot and they didn't want them in. So they had to make up a new way of viewing which teams and how they rank and want to add this as a component to, choosing the college football playoff teams. It's called SP plus strength of schedule, right? It's based on the expected win percentage and average top 5 team would generate against each team's schedule. All right. And it's a real complex system, but guess who ranked number 1 this year in that schedule spread? Indiana. So
Wow.
yeah, they're number one in that formula. They're number one. Ohio State's 2. Number 3 is Texas Tech. Number 4 is Miami. Number 5 is A&M. Number 6 is Oregon. So it's a pretty solid system, as all of those teams are right about where they say they are. The thing that I noticed most about this game was that we know Oregon is the youngest team in the country, and they kind of showed it. They were having some real breakdowns. Signetta was confusing the hell out of them with the defense. They were stunting, and they also were overloading on sides. And man, Oregon just couldn't get in the right type of coverage. You see 2 interceptions from Dante Moore. He looked a lot more mediocre than we've ever seen him look. He's been a really good player all year long, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. But man, Indiana was ready for him, and Mendoza outshined him. Mendoza looked like the best quarterback on the field, man. Kid had some speed to be as big as he is. He's 6'6" and over 200 pounds, lanky kid, but man, he has some wheels for his size. Really accurate passer. He can put the ball anywhere he wants to put it on the field. I think that Fernando Mendoza has a really bright future, man, and Indiana's here to stay. With him coming back next year, it's no way that I think Kurt Signetta leaves Indiana. If he does leave Indiana and goes to Penn State like they're hoping, or to Michigan, he's probably going to take Fernando Mendoza with him, man. So great job.
I've seen Mendoza mocked a lot. I've even seen him going first overall in some of these upcoming drafts. So maybe,
but I don't know if he comes out. He might stay another year. He isn't a senior.
Yeah, but I saw you tweeting about it. The way this quarterback class is this year, he might be the number 1 pick.
Yeah, he might be the number 1 pick. So he might have to come out, If you're the number 1
I think from what we've seen so far, he's been the top quarterback prospect. Other guys potentially to come out, but of course we still have a long season to continue. Let's move on to Sunday. Cowboys first half money line against the Panthers, but the Panthers moved ahead and got the win there, 30-27. Rico Dowdle's been amazing these last 2 games, but you jumped in early with that first half, and speaking of amazing, George Pickens doing pretty well as well.
George Pickens looks good. Dak looks good. When CD comes back, that offense is going to be a lot to deal with. This was a down game for Javonte Williams. He usually plays better. Carolina is undefeated at home, man. Maybe I need to start respecting whatever the books are seeing for them at home. That's why I didn't want to fade the full game. I knew that somehow with how that line was set up, that Carolina was going to probably win, man. But we're able to get there on the first half because, as I said in my breakdown, you always are going to have an advantage with the Cowboys first half with the fact that how good their kicker is. Their kicker, if you get to the 50-yard line, it's automatic, So that's one thing to factor. And then also a very competent offense led by Rain Dakota Prescott. Just the defense let them down again. They played pretty good this game, actually, too. It's just, I don't know why. Fourth quarter, maybe Bryce Young is clutch. Maybe that's what it is, because fourth quarter, he tends to get it done. He always plays well at home late in games, man. And Panthers pull off the upset, and they take care of the Cowboys, man, at +3. So kudos to them. Kudos to, everything that they got going out there in Charlotte, because they are undefeated at home, and being a good home team is very important in football.
Interesting decision coming up with the Panthers, and Bryce Young continue to play well. I just worry about another Purdy situation where he's a good player, but they might end up overpaying him. Let's see what Carolina ends up doing. Another game that we got right was the Cardinals moved all the way out to +9 with Jacoby Brissett in there. And, we've argued about Kyler Murray before. And one thing you've always said is that he doesn't fit well in the system that Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing were running. And I thought that was evident yesterday as a player like Jacoby Brissett. It feels like the system is more suited to his strengths. It feels like it was even more obvious how they're not really playing to some of Kyler's strengths. And maybe this quarterback is better for what Petzing's trying to do. Maybe he's not creative enough for a more dynamic player. But the Cardinals look good. I thought they were going to get the straight-up win. The Colts pull it out at the end there. But, the Colts – they're a good football team, and it's a great story. But they continue – to me, their strength of schedule hasn't been so good so far. I'd like to see how they do against some of these better teams. What did you see there when Jacoby Brissett took the field and almost got the upset in Indy.
That was an easy play for me. Me and Ski kind of talked that one out on the show Friday. Way too much negative press on the Cardinals. Everyone's loving the Colts. The line's running crazy. And people aren't factoring in that Arizona's been a pretty good team this year. They've had some good wins, and their defense is really solid. They were able to keep them in the game. The Colts ended up winning the game because they just were a better team. Good showing by Brissett. Ski sends me this morning a tweet that showed that Jacoby Brissett threw for 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. The last time Kyler Murray did that was 34 games and nearly 3 years ago. So Ski's kind of siding with you. He's not that high on Kyler Murray. But as I was telling Ski, and I'm gonna tell you as well, everyone loves the backup quarterback. So if Brissett was the guy that he showed yesterday, he would be starting somewhere in the NFL. I think what it is backups always have these type of moments because teams haven't schemed for them. I'm sure that the Colts all week were practicing for Kyler Murray. They didn't learn until later on in the week that he wasn't playing. It's a completely different style of quarterback when you're practicing for containing Kyler Murray and you're playing a drop back pocket guy like Jacoby Brissett. The thing that makes a backup quarterback, though, Spread, is the fact that they can't consistently do it. Jacoby Brissett will not have this game 10 times out of 17 in the season. He'll probably have it 2 out of 17. That's the difference, whereas in Kyler consistently is a threat to win the game for you, man. So good job by Brissett getting them there. Great job getting us the cover. We'll see what happens with Jonathan Gannon moving forward as he's beaten by his old guy was in the Eagles with him, Shane Steichen. I think Shane Steichen is a much better coach. Maybe Jonathan Gannon adjusts. This is his first coaching job, so I'm not going to be too hard on him. I tore into him last week for hitting the kid DeMarcado in the chest and stuff, but he looks like the team hasn't, stopped fighting for him. Hopefully he learns from the situation, matures, and becomes, a better coach with a better understanding, man. So let's just do that, man. Here goes Steven. He says we gave him a great weekend. All right, man. We appreciate that. That's what we're looking to do right here in the wagering world, man. But, yeah, I think that the Cardinals are a good team, and they'll be right on the fringe of the wild card all year. The Colts, I look forward to when the Texans play the Colts. I want to see how Daniel Jones does against that Texans defense.
All right. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about as well. It's great to put up 40 points against the Raiders, who just went life and death with the Tennessee Titans. So let's see how the Colts fare against some top competition. Speaking of top competition, we had that last night as the Kansas City Chiefs made a statement to the league, and it kind of reinforced the statement that we had made. Don't count this Kansas City team out. We told you go ahead and bet them right now. This was the buy low opportunity, and that play and those tickets continue to look good as not only the Chiefs get the win, I thought they did it in an emphatic fashion. They're really making a statement against what I consider to be a really good Detroit Lions team. So the Chiefs continue to improve as they always do, because that's what happens when your team is well coached. And don't look now, but Rashee Rice should be back in the lineup next week. Your thoughts on the Chiefs and the Lions?
The Chiefs and the Lions, we knew that it was going to be a game between two teams that could be there at the end. This could be the Super Bowl matchup. Very well could be. Both are really well coached. A lot of really good players, really good quarterbacks on both sides. Skinny and I talked about it on the show Friday. It was going to basically boil down to where was the money at before the game. And after all the money began to shift, when you got the public going against Kansas City at home, that's a go for me every time. Anytime the public's against Patrick Mahomes, I'm blazing them. And I blazed them last night for the first half and for the game, and the group was able to cash on it. One thing that I really enjoyed about that game seeing was how the receiving core is coming on. As you said, Rashee Rice is coming next. Hollywood's looking like a different kid. Like he was dropping a lot of balls with the Ravens. He looks good with Kansas City. Xavier Worthy seemed like he's overcame the injury. As I told you, he's the most important piece to that receiving core because how he threatens the safety. Travis Kelce, since Worthy's back, now is getting a lot looser coverage, in the mid-range area, and he's working again. And now, as you said, Rashee Rice comes back, who's Mahomes' top receiver, his possession guy, his third down guy, his big play guy. So everything's looking up for the Chiefs. No penalties, 1 turnover and 1 punt last night against a really, really good Lions team. Dan Campbell had those guys ready to play, but the Chiefs are too much at home. I think Mahomes had also heard about the fact that he was 0-3 against Jared Goff, so he really looked good and played well last night. Did you see what they did? Now, we always talk about on this show, trust your eyes, watch the game with the sound down. Don't get a part of the circus, because they want you a part of the circus, man. They want to lead you and guide you in certain ways. And we also talk about how some of these games get real shady because all of the money involved in it. Jared Goff scores a touchdown on a great play call by Dan Campbell. They're lining up to kick the extra point, and suddenly they get a call and take away the touchdown and make the Lions go back on the field and run a different play. Well, guess what we find out this morning, Spread? It was a bettor who dropped $45K on Jared Goff to score the first touchdown of the game. He would have bagged $250,000, $250,000. And for some reason, it was a penalty. And the fact that they lined up to kick the extra point and buzz down, when did they start doing this, Spread? Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Unfortunately, I've seen plenty of shady stuff when watching the NFL.
But though, Spread, this is Canadian football type stuff that they do.
I'm trying to even think of the stuff that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. But no, I understand your point. Keep going.
Spread, I just can't understand this. Like, if the flag had been thrown immediately after the play, while the play was going on, then cool. It's all good, right? For them to allow them to line up, get the offense off the field, the special teams on for the kick, and now you can't do that. You can't review penalties. So it looked really, really, really bad. J-Rock says they said it was non-reviewable, but the refs had a discussion. I bet they did have a discussion. Somebody buzzed down from Jersey and was like, we are not paying this $250,000 to this guy. So I don't know if the guy had some inside knowledge about that play or something, but they weren't paying him. This a really shady situation right there on that game. Let's get to kick the damn extra point, Spread.
Kevin Stefanski. How did he make kick the damn extra point this week? I thought it was going to be our guy Aaron Glenn, and I'll take the L on that one.
He's an honorable mention.
I was high on Aaron Glenn coming into the season, but he might just be the defensive version of Brian Callahan. Let's get you back in that coordinator's booth, and let's get someone else running the team, because the way they're playing, you would think the Jets have the least amount of talent in the league, and that's not the case. That's not the case at all. So I thought we were going to have Aaron Glenn on here, but tell me why Kevin Stefanski moved ahead of my guy Aaron Glenn, who I'm taking the L on, maybe not ready to be a head coach. How did Stefanski beat out Aaron Glenn? Because if you would have told me that it wasn't going to be him at 9:30 a.m. out here on the West Coast, I would have said there's no way. How do you blow that game? They don't even throw the Hail Mary. They run the fake punt with their starting offensive lineman and Breece Hall, that's not even their package. So anyone who's watched tape understands what they're doing. They don't use Justin Fields correctly. They constantly have him dropping back 7 steps. I mean, let this guy get some 3 steps, easy reads, right? I mean, you're not looking at Drew Brees here the way that Justin Fields is able to read a defense here. Aaron Glenn continues to show that, hey, I'll give you props on this one. You told me he was a product of Dan Campbell, and that might be the case. So Aaron Glenn, but not the winner of Kick the Damn Extra Point this week. How did Stefanski manage to win this one?
He's the honorable mention for sure. And the NFL tried everything they could to make the Jets win. Bro, like, you just called it to a T. When I'm up at 6:30, I bet the first half only on that game, and we were able to cash it by nothing except the foolishness of Aaron Glenn. So we really thank him for that. It's they were trying to get the first half and the game. That's what the NFL wanted. They wanted the Jets to cover both, because Sean Payton is one of the sharpest guys in football. His special teams coach is a guy he brought over from the Saints, who's won all types of awards for being a great special teams coach, right? You're going to tell me that they're not on the sidelines and didn't see Breece Hall and the whole offensive line come in?
Yeah.
Oh, that fake punch spread and not call timeout. Do you really believe Sean Payton would do that? Like, this stuff is getting a little they're just not caring anymore. As we saw with the Jared Goff situation, it's like, I always say the NFL is like the government. They don't care. They just do whatever they want to do, and they know you're going to accept it anyway. But just horrible job by Aaron Glenn all the way around. So he definitely gets an honorable mention, because you run the fake punt, and then after that, you just let the clock run out. It was so weird. But we cash on it because of that, so thank you. But Kevin Stefanski gets it because he's absolutely an idiot. Spread. Like, I don't understand this guy. So it's this for some reason, it's a perception that he's this great coach because he won Coach of the Year twice. Those were his only winning seasons ever. Spread. He went 11-6 both of those years, and for some reason, because I don't know, maybe some of the writers are in love with him or something, they made him the Coach of the Year. But if you look outside of that, he's 19-36 for his career with Cleveland. Overall, 41-48. He's a Nepo baby. His dad was an executive, I think, with the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken, Ed Stefanski, and he's from Philadelphia, and he played defensive back at Penn. Who the hell plays football at Penn anyway? But he plays football at Penn and becomes a coach and is considered this great offensive mind. But the thing that I dislike about him most is he's creating all this drama with Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel for no reason. Why the hell, when people asked him, is Shedeur the backup, did they have to go have a meeting with him to say he's the backup? Spread? It's only 2 quarterbacks on the roster who had been there since the beginning of the spring after they traded Joe Flacco. Why was it pulling teeth for him to just say, yeah, he's the backup? Like, you're creating all of this drama for nothing, man. You're a drama queen. Shedeur Sanders bringing all of this attention, supposedly Shedeur's fault, but he's the 3rd string quarterback. Joe Hayden, who used to play for the Browns, said on a podcast, why the hell are you making him available for the media? He's the 3rd string quarterback. You don't have to make him available. He's a rookie. You don't have to make him available. So I don't know what's going on with Stefanski. It has to be something going on with him in the front office. Obviously, he's not a Shedeur Sanders guy. Why? I have no idea, because that's the only one who could save his job. I'm hearing that when Shedeur played in the preseason against Carolina, Stefanski got a little ticked off with him because they said Shedeur kept audibling out of the plays he was calling. Because as we see with the Dillon Gabriel mess, he likes to dink and dunk and run this form of the West Coast offense, and Shedeur likes to take shots down the field and is very versed in offense. He understands holes in offense because Tom Brady has been teaching him how to be a quarterback since he was 15, and they said that kind of started the initial splinter between him and Stefanski. But of course, he wasn't drafted by Stefanski. Stefanski wanted Dillon Gabriel for some damn reason, who's 5'8" and suffers from the Napoleon syndrome like most short guys does. Did you see what he did to Patrick Queen? Spread?
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you think if Shedeur Sanders would have did that, it wouldn't have been the top news this morning on First Take? Look at this punk Shedeur Sanders. Guy sacks him, he sucker punches him in the stomach. We've never seen this before. But somehow, Dillon Gabriel, no one talks about it. He made Dillon Gabriel, who's a game manager, throw the ball 52 times yesterday for only 200 yards. So they're averaging like 4 yards per play. It's just ridiculous what he's doing, man. Dylan Gabriel doesn't have any dynamic playmaking ability. He doesn't have a strong arm. He can't consistently drive the offense down the field. And Stefanski is hell-bent on being right. So it's a multitude of reasons why he should get kicked the damn extra point. Most of all for just being a little messy bitch. Because instead of him just going to the press conference and saying he's the second string or this is why I'm doing, he keeps playing all these little cat and mouse games to try to keep the drama going. As you said earlier in the year, maybe he's trying to get fired. Maybe that's what he's up to. And if he is fired, it'll be a really good thing for the Cleveland Browns because he's the most overrated coach in the NFL. He will not be a head coach next year like some people are saying or gassing themselves up to say that people are going to be beating down the doors to hire him. No, they definitely will not. Another thing, Mike Tomlin said this morning.
Man, I was about to steal that one, and let me jump in real quick because
say it.
That's why I think that Stefanski does want to get fired. This is what Mike Tomlin said about Andrew Berry, the GM of the Cleveland Browns, right? So first of all, this GM drafts Dylan Gabriel because he knows the owner is going to make him. Now they're forcing Stefanski to play Dylan Gabriel. I would not be surprised if it comes out after he leaves the team that he was against Gabriel the whole time and that he knew this was bad. Here's Mike Tomlin. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a QB that you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in the area. The Cleveland Browns are an absolute mess, and I think Stefanski might be trying to get out of there, but he just doesn't want to quit. He wants to get that sweet same James Franklin deal so he can take his time and find the right job. So let's see. I think there's going to be more that continues to come out here. One other thing, 5-star, you talked about the sucker punch from Dylan Gabriel. Did you see when Jalen Ramsey made the sack on Gabriel? Went to the sideline and pointed at Shador and told Stefanski, why is he not in there? Why is he not in there? It was obvious, and I can't give the guy credit, but I saw a great tweet this morning that said, Dylan Gabriel, he's undersized and he doesn't have a strong arm, but he makes up for it with his lack of athleticism. So everybody's on to this whole Dylan Gabriel charade, and I think there's a lot of disconnect there between the front office and the coaching staff, and maybe that's how Stefanski ends up getting out of this. You know how these guys all talk. They might know that these two are at odds, and that he didn't want to play Dylan Gabriel. So we'll see what happens there. But I think you're right. I think that one way or the other, he'll be moving on at the end of the season.
And see, people always wonder, like, why are Shador fans and 5-star, why you talk so much about this? And the reason why is because y'all hit that like button if you're rocking with the Wagering World. Spread, you know how seriously we take quarterbacking on this show. You know how seriously we take quarterbacking. If Shador was ass, if he wasn't the most pro-ready quarterback coming out of college, he checked all the boxes for a Spread. He was accurate. He threw guys open, made window throws. He was a guy like Mahomes, like Goff, like Rodgers, like Favre. We can go days. Breeze, Dak Prescott, guy who was not at a traditional football power, who played with a trash offensive line and with less talent and still was able to do numbers. He took hits and still delivered dimes. He showed an ability to bring back his team and play best when the team needed him. How many other traits do we have to name? You remember I was way higher on Shador and Cam Ward for his future in the NFL. And I love Cam Ward. As you know, I was the first person talking about Cam Ward on X in 2021 at Incarnate Word. So none of this is favoritism. I like this guy. It's just that I don't like bullshit. And it's bullshit for the NFL to sit up here and these scouts to either be so influenced or so dumb to act like this kid wasn't the best quarterback, pro-ready quarterback coming out of this draft just because his dad is into it with CBS and into it with the NFL. Because that's what it's really about. You and I know this, and it was pretty much told to everyone across the league, don't touch this kid. But we've seen before, Jimmy Haslam at the Browns doesn't really obey by what the league does. I thought that Mark Davis was like that, like his father, but since he's gotten Brady over there, and also now he's making a little money with the Aces, he wants to, like, I want to be a regular owner now. I'm tired of being the rebel. So I really thought the Raiders were going to draft him, but he was afraid to get out there and do it. They don't do it. The Browns take the chance, and I think that Jimmy Haslam knows he has his star quarterback sitting right on the bench, and he's not going to let that kid go anywhere without him getting some snaps there. They've already made the mistake with Baker Mayfield. Why the hell would you play Deshaun Watson? And he's not even better than Shador at this point in his career. He's rusty, and he's not the type of guy that he used to be. He lost a lot of his he lost his mojo, man, when all that stuff came out about him. So I just don't understand any of this, and that's why I keep beating it, because I hate injustice, man. I can't stand it. Like, if you want to be honest, just be truthful and just say, hey, man, we don't like this kid. We're not going to draft. But stop trying to make up all of these reasons. And now you saw Mary Kay Cabot. I retweeted. Now she's saying all the stuff, Spread, that we were saying all year. He has an uncanny ability to throw
she's
the ball.
He's on the Browns subreddit. They're convinced that she's basically just the Browns PR person. So, she was the first one to kind of hint that Dylan Gabriel is. And so now maybe with her saying that, this is a hint. And you told me it'd probably be about week 7 or week 8. We're right on that timeline. Let's see what this kid has.
And see, this is what people are doing, Spread. We've seen this a million times before. We're going to go and get to the present. Do you remember all of the times we've seen teams with a new quarterback come in, and now all of a sudden you're like, damn, the offensive line blocking better. Damn, the receivers can run a better route. Wow, the running backs trying harder, defense playing harder. No team wants to go into a game with a quarterback that they know they can't win the game with. So we're going to see an entire different effort from the Cleveland Browns as a whole. The moment Stefanski stops being a little bitch and allows Shador to be the quarterback, at least let him fail. If you don't think he's good yourself, you think everyone's saying, talking and don't know, put him out there. Put him out there, let him play, and let's see what he does. And if he performs like I know that he's going to perform, it's just going to make him look more stupid. I just hate that he's with that organization now, man, honestly, because Stefanski doesn't even deserve a quarterback like him.
2 top prospects probably went to the 2 worst organizations. Of course, the Cincinnati Bengals have to be in the running. Let's go ahead and talk about tonight. What do you think of having 2 Monday Night Football games on? Some people like it, some people don't. I'm kind of neutral on it.
We're better, so I like it. So if I got 2 games, it's a better chance of me winning, because now it's 2 games that the books have to look at. Like, we always want them to do more work. The more work they do, the more opportunities we have to catch them slipping. So,
and now you'll see why. Up until recently, college basketball was the most popular sport for professional bettors. The idea that you can't put up over 100 lines overnight and be right on every single one. But let's talk about tonight. The Buffalo Bills coming off that shocking loss to the New England Patriots last Sunday night on primetime. Play another game in primetime, this time going against the Atlanta Falcons, who, of course, coming off that excellent win in week 4. Then they had a bye. Try to get things together. I think this Falcons defense is much improved. Let's see how the Bills bounce back after a loss. Falcons catching 4.5 at home. Total 49.5. How are you approaching this one?
This one's a tough one. The line is saying take the Falcons, right? Because what we always say, if the line looks fun, it's probably money. Falcons are coming off a bye week. Falcons are a really good home team. A lot of people don't consider that. They're really good in the Georgia Dome. Bills, though, are coming off a loss. So that's what troubles me about jumping out there so fast with the Falcons, because we know that the Bills lost last week to New England. They can't be happy about that. People realize also that the Falcons are the number one rated defense in the entire league. You know, by the numbers, they have the number one total defense in the whole league. Raheem Morris is a defensive coordinator. Like, sometimes we forget that, and that he did a really good job as they won the Super Bowl with the Rams, and it was very defensive pending, you know, and with them winning that game and against Cincinnati, it was a low-scoring game, and all through the playoffs, they had low-scoring games, and Raheem Morris was lights out. So Raheem Morris knows what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball, and they're facing the third-ranked offense in the whole league. We know Josh Allen is one of those guys. I don't know if Raheem Morris is smart enough to do the same things to Josh Allen that we saw the Texans were able to do to him a couple years ago when they came to Houston. Because we know that the coordinator for a defense facing Josh Allen you have to emphasize discipline. You have to stay in your lanes. You have to blitz him, and then have the guy watch him, kind of the same way that you play the Ravens, the same way you kind of slow down Lamar. If you do that, we know Josh Allen can make some mistakes. He's still a guy who, he'll turn the ball over, even though he hasn't lately. He's been doing a really good job protecting it. He still has that wild horse in him. So will he be willing to do again what he had to do against New England? That you saw Vrabel played him in that same manner where, look, man, we're not letting you run the ball. You're not getting any deep shots. You're going to have to peck away. Can he stay, with that same mind state and just throw the ball? A big thing to watch in this game for both teams will be the running game, because where the Bills struggle at is stopping the run, and they're also missing Matt Milano. And anytime Matt Milano is, then he gets hurt, seems like every year. He's the quarterback of Sean McDermott's defense. And when he's not there, they're never as good as they are when he is there. He's the key to that defense, man. And with him out, defensive tackle TJ Sanders, this just might be a big Bijan Robinson game. And we also know that the Falcons will be more, leaning towards running the ball than the Bills do. I think this is an under game, honestly. I hate unders. I hate if I play something, I like to play the total to go over. This actually might be an under game because I can very much see the Falcons coming out with a plan of, we're going to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hand. We're going to run the ball. We know that Penix has a ways to go right now on being, a quarterback that you could trust to throw the ball a lot. He's only had 3 touchdowns this year and 3 interceptions as well. So that's not good. Drake London is a really good weapon on the outside, but he's still figuring it out how to get him the ball. So I think this might be one that it's already ticked down from 50.5 to 49.5. This might turn to a run game because James Cook would be the best option for the Bills with the way that the Falcons are going to play them defensively. So I lean towards the under on this game. No official play for me yet. If I decide on an official play, I'll definitely shoot it out and give you guys a tweet. But I do lean the under on this game.
This game has my play for the Ball Parlay, so I'll give the breakdown then. Let's move to the second game taking place tonight. The Chicago Bears taking on Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Once again, Bears coming off a bye. They have to be excited. They found some momentum with that big win over the Raiders there in week 4. Feels like maybe Ben Johnson and all the coaching he's been doing with Caleb Williams starting to come through. But it's like I said before, it's one thing to do it against the Raiders and another to do it against a team that was playing in the NFC Championship game last season. Washington Commanders minus 5.5 in this one. Give us your breakdown here, 5-star.
This should be a really good game. You got the number 1 draft pick against the number 2 draft pick. So that's in play. Also, the fact that Caleb Williams is coming home. He's from the D.C. area. He'll get a chance to play for the Washington team that a lot of people thought initially that he was going to, push his way into going to. We thought that he might tell Chicago don't draft him. But if you remember, I was the first one, that said, I know some of Caleb's people, they say that he's going to go on and go to the Bears, that he looks forward to playing with Chicago, and he's hoping to do the same thing under Eberflus that C.J. Stroud was able to do with the Texans, with the fact that you have a strong defense and a really good team overall. So Caleb ends up taking the Chicago gig. They end up taking Jaden Daniels, who's been my guy since 2021 as well. I've been talking about him since Arizona State, and that he was going to be a great pro. So this has all the makings of what seems to me like it should be a shootout. It looks like an over game for me, which means it probably go under, they do. But it looks like an over game to me. I was hearing something about the weather. Let me check something. Someone was telling me that it might have a little rain involved in this game. I want to make sure that before we make any official plays on this one. Let's see.
All right, I'm checking that right now.
Oh, yeah. It says it's going to rain during this game for sure. So that will affect some things for sure. 12 miles per hour wind, that's not bad. The wind isn't going to be whipping that bad. Wet, still I like the over because even when it's raining, quarterbacks can move the ball, they can throw the ball. Also might cause some turnovers. Here go my guy PMJ. He said it's definitely supposed to rain. We appreciate that, PMJ. So with a rainy surface, might have some turnovers, some short fields. The receivers are going to know where they're going. The quarterbacks are not going to know where they're going. As a side, I'm still filling these games out, both of them. Yesterday, I kind of kicked it with the kids, and me and the wife went out and stayed up a little bit. So I haven't broken down the sides as deep as I usually do before the show. So I don't want to give anyone any plays that I'm not going to play myself. But on the totals, I do lean the under on the first game. And on this game, man, I do like the over. I think with the rain, receivers know where they're going, DBs don't. Both of these teams already have suspect defenses, so there's some, points that might be scored in this one. And as I said, you got the number 1 pick against the number 2 pick. Caleb Williams coming home, so he's going to want to put on a show. Jaden Daniels is just efficient and very competitive himself. He'll be trying to upshow Caleb Williams. So I expect fireworks in this one. Let's go with the points on this one. Let's say this one ends up being 27-24, 30-24, something like that. I have been playing a lot of the Bears totals first quarter over. I'm sure in this one it'd probably be, if you could find it for me real quick, Spread, let me know. It'd probably be like 3.5, right?
Probably 3.5. That's what they usually are.
They've been really good in the first quarter. So both of these teams are good. They usually start really fast, but I probably lean the Bears over points first quarter and Bears first quarter money line. Those are my 2 leans on this game. But as I said, for sure, I like the over on this one.
Oh, I'm loving this 5-star. I got it 3.5 like we guessed, but plus 127.
Nice.
Offshore. I think we're going to go for that as we've seen how well that Ben Johnson has done with Caleb Williams during those scripted plays. But 5-star, other than that play here, sometimes we get frustrated with these bookmakers, but they are very good at what they do. I'm going to go ahead and give them respect. I think they made the correct line here. I think if you wanted me to, I can make a good argument for both sides on each team. So that's a great look on that first quarter. I think that's going to be my only play here in this game. Let's move on to the Ball and Parlay, and I'll go ahead and give it a start. The reason I didn't break down because I just didn't want to repeat myself. But I'm with you on the under tonight. We know that the way to attack the Buffalo Bills is through the ground. And even if it's not, a traditional running play like Bill Walsh, the West Coast offense, they get the ball in Bijan's hands with a lot of those screens and short passes that are essentially like the running plays, keeps the clock moving. The other thing is, as dynamic as Josh Allen's been, he's not a speedster, right? This isn't Lamar Jackson. This isn't Justin Fields back there. He actually doesn't, most offenses do better on turf. His numbers, especially his rushing numbers, do not go up indoors. So while the Falcons do get the advantage on being the quick indoor field there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Buffalo Bills will not have that same advantage. So when I'm looking at this game, I'm looking at the under. I think this total is way too high for a primetime game when we're looking at what these teams do like to do. So you said that you lean that way, but that's my favorite play for tonight. I'm going under 49.5 on tonight's game.
All righty. Okay, and you know me, man. There's so much tennis on. I'm back locked in on my WTA. We've been doing really well. Coco gets it done for us. She beats her, her home girl, who was kind of like the one who opened her arms to a Pagulia when she first hit the tour. She gets it done, man. After Pagulia upsets Sabalenka, and Sabalenka almost got some real trouble. Spread. You saw she threw that racket, man, and almost hit the ball boy. I don't know what the hell she was thinking about on that one. But on the WTA, I'm trying to find a line real quick, fellas. I'm going with Dalma Golfi to beat Alicia Parks for the match for sure, but I'm going to go with first set and the match. Alicia Parks just can't be trusted, man. And Golfi actually isn't more talented than Alicia Parks. The problem is that she can hold her serve much better than she can. Alicia Parks is just a hot and cold player, man. You don't know what to expect from her. And, I just can't bet on them. I always fade her. I root for her, hope she does well as long as my money isn't on the other side, but I never bet on her. So I'm going to be with Goffey for the first set. I don't know why. I'm trying to find the line real quick, Spread. And they don't have it on Caesars. They're ducking it. I think they go to my account and make it where I can access certain matches. Okay, so Golf is at minus 270. Wow, she's a lot higher than I expected. That make Parks a play. But let's do just the first set then. First set on Golfy at minus 190. That's definitely a play for me. Another one that I like also is a young lady that just had an upset the other night. A lot of people don't know about this girl because she's kind of a 100 player, but she's been playing good of late on hard courts. I'm talking about Joanna Garland. She just beat Kat McNally 2-0. I think that she wins the first set against Rebecca Shramkova. Shramkova getting up there in age. She's 28, but she always starts slow. She's one of those girls who's a notorious slow starter. So for the first set, I think that Garland can definitely get it done. So give me the first set on Garland at plus 123. So we're going with two first sets on the tennis and the WTA for me. As I said, I'll go with Dharma Goffey to win the first set against Alicia Parks because Alicia's just playing weird right now. But Alicia might win this from 2-1. She might come back because I don't like that number. That's way too much juice. I don't think Goffey should be minus 270 against Alicia Parks. And you know how we are. If the line looks fun, it's probably money. So we're just going to do the first set on that one. And that whole basis of that handicap is on the fact that I know that Alicia Parks is a slow starter. And also, I know that Shramkova is a slow starter. And I know that Joanna Garland is playing some really hot tennis right now. So let's go first set with Garland at plus 125, I believe. And we'll go with, as I said, Goffey at minus 190 for the first set. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're right at an hour. Perfect timing for the show. You heard Spread's pick. Anything for the people, Spread, before we get out of here?
Man, just once again, we do all this preseason content, and the NFL continues to be a war of attrition. These players are just dropping like crazy, and I was just thinking about all my friends out here that are 49ers fans watching Fred Warner go down. For one, could not believe out of everybody that it was simply the only one left there is Christian McCaffrey. I thought he was going to get hurt first. So that's why they play the games.
Yeah, Fred Warner has been getting injured a lot lately. I hope that he recovers from this one. And it's really weird that they're having all of those injuries in the Bay Area. You know, like the Bay Area was known for having so much good sports science for so many years. That's why you remember McCaffrey was getting injured all the time in Carolina. He comes to the Bay Area and ends up, being healthy for plenty of years before now he's back dealing with a lot of injuries. And then you look at Steph Curry. The main reason he dropped in the draft was because people thought that his ankles were all messed up and that he wasn't going to be any good. And with the, sports science that they have in the Bay Area, he was okay. And, didn't miss a lot of games in his career, especially early. So, it's weird. They just got the injury bug, but you see that happen sometimes in the NFL where certain teams, man, they just, can't get right. I had the Bucks on that one, so I did good yesterday. I'm a Baker Mayfield believer. I think that him and Todd Bowles is an excellent combination. Now that I step back and look at the whole situation, because Bowles is a really sound guy who doesn't, get too high, get too low, and then you got Baker running around there cussing and going crazy. So it works together really good, and I think that Todd Bowles is one of the more underrated coaches in the NFL. Be careful for Tampa Bay because my guy, Big Mike Evans, will be back soon. And when he comes back along with Amika and Igbuna, that's going to be a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous team in the playoffs. Guys, as always, I dedicate this show to the greatest Houston sports fan I know, and that's my father, John H. Lindsay. I appreciate everyone for tuning in to the Wagering World. Hey, guys, as always, us versus the machine. Go to www.thewageringworld.com. You can get some of the gear that you see Spread and myself have on. Yes, sir. You see the mug right here, man. So, we're a small knit community, but we win and we like it like that. We like it where it's hater proof. We don't want any haters watching this show and getting money with us, man. Hey, man, we appreciate you all. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.